Hey everybody, welcome to the Print Theory Podcast.
Every time.
We are live. Well, technically.
We're in front of a live.
We're alive.
We're
We are
alive.
alive. Yeah, let that be known.
Alive. Guys, we are at Impressions Expo Long Beach here in, Long Beach,
In Long
obviously.
Beach.
In
Long
Long
Beach.
Beach. Someone said, hello, LA. And I was like, a little farther, a little this way, down that way.
Kinda.
But they had the right idea.
Kind of the general same area, no?
Yeah, Los Angeles
Los
Metro.
Angeles, yeah.
Yeah, for
There
sure.
you go.
It works. It gets the job done. Well, we are here. It is day two of Impressions Expo. I always want to call it ISS,
I know.
but it's Impressions. So we're here. It is a lot of fun, and we have the awesome opportunity right now to introduce our friend and partner in print, Brian Richards of Rock US. Say
Thanks
what's
for
up,
having
Brian.
me. Yeah, appreciate you guys. This is great. This is awesome.
It's fun. It's fun. We're here. I know you've had a long day. We talked about it a little bit.
Do I look like I've had a long day?
No, you
Yeah,
look
you
great.
look great.
No one would have noticed.
We only know because we too have been walking around this show
Yes.
since 9 a.m.
You know the drill.
My
Yeah.
goodness, I am. Okay, we were gonna bring the stuff in, and you were like, yeah, just pull up here and text us.
Yeah.
We had already brought half the equipment to do some interviews with like T-Style and Kevin from Sales Inc. And then we were like, let's just get the other half and just wheel it. So we wheeled it on the dolly, but we were going back and back and back and then around, and we're just like, I'm so tired, my back hurts. I'm walking, thighs are burning.
Get your steps in.
But we
Yeah.
got our steps in.
There you go.
I don't have my Fitbit, but I'm sure iPhone tracks it.
There, yeah. The
But-
stairs.
Well, we're here. We wanted to just have a little conversation. We have been partners with you guys, and you have helped us as a shop and a company out for many years. And I know Dan and Sarah are very grateful. I'm really grateful. This is our first conversation together like this, so I'm excited. This will be cool.
Yeah.
But if you could, can you give us just a kind of quick overview of what Rock US is, what you guys do, the market, everything?
Sure. Yeah, so I'll start with Rock. So Rock is a manufacturer. There are a lot of people in the U.S. don't know this. They're the largest manufacturer of screen print automation in the
Just
world.
a little closer.
Oh yeah, sorry. check. Okay.
Sorry.
More snare.
More cowbell.
Yeah. So 40, we're past 40 years now. I think maybe 42 years.
Wow.
Gosh.
Started by two brothers in a garage, much like many print shops
Yeah.
start, right?
That's cool.
So the son of one of those brothers, the nephew of the other, you guys met Joao? He's so he's kind of he's like the North American like kind of head of sales for Rock, right? So he's always here at these shows. Awesome guy. We've been to the factory a few times.
Yeah.
We need to get you guys.
Yeah.
I know.
I
we
wanna
were gonna
go.
go.
You
when
have
COVID
to go.
happened, so we didn't.
Next pod maybe from the factory.
Hey, there you go.
Oh,
We need to make
let's
that
go.
happen.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, you'll have white wine, so
Nice.
it'll be a whole deal.
Awesome.
But so Portugal, they started by actually servicing machines, right? So screen print machines, different types of manufacturing machines, and so through that, they began to realize like we can develop a better solution, right? So they started to build their own machinery for the decorated apparel market for screen printing in Europe. And Rock is named after Saint Rock, which is like how we would say like St. Louis, right? It's like an area in Portugal that's kind of like the garment region,
Wow.
right? So that's the name of the
Wow.
company. When I first started at before even Rock US, I was with Ryanette. That's where we
Yeah.
met
Yeah.
actually, screenprinting.com. So and yeah, it was called S Rock, right? S
Right.
dot Rock,
Yeah.
and it's ROQUE, right? And so you get Sroku and Srocky and all sorts of weird pronunciations. And I was only there for maybe a year or two when they changed it, rebranded to Rock, and I was like, that's awesome. That's so much better. It's
Right.
perfect, right? And it kind of meshed with our vibe at that time. Ryanette was the exclusive distributor, used to offer some other products, and when that didn't work out, they went and looked for a European manufacturer to bring to the States, right? So that's kind of where I started. I think you could count the amount of rock machines in the U.S. on your hands at that time. This is like 2012, 2013. And so just the level of growth that we've seen internationally, but like specifically in the U.S. market, it's just caught fire. So it's been really cool to see. You guys have been a huge part of that.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. And yeah, rocks continue to grow. They're you'll see when you go to Portugal. They're like built onto a hillside. And so it used to be like a winery, like a vineyard part of it, but they've just continued to grow. And so they just build these buildings down the hillside.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you come in on like a steep, kind of driveway. And they always like joke because like when the Americans go, they don't know how to drive a stick shift in Europe. So it's like then they like stall trying to get back out. So then they like, they're always looking at us like trying to.
I do not know how to drive a stick shift.
Yeah.
I could maybe figure it out, but I might grind some gears.
Yeah, literally.
I might stall at a couple red lights.
Yeah. So they over time, I think in the 90s, they introduced the conveyor dryers and the folding lines. And then right around 2017 is when the first Rock Now came out, the DTG machine. So that's where we're at now. Much like what's going on with decorated apparel, it's just the whole market's just kind of diversifying, and there's different solutions. And so, the goal of any business is to adapt with the times. And screen printing is our DNA. We love screen printing, and that's what we're known for and who we are. But we're also a fulfillment innovator and a DTG innovator, and now a heat transfer innovator. So it's really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. There is so much DTF at the show. I was telling Christine when we were walking around that, like, when we first started coming to these shows, it was just screen printing, buckets of ink. And I mean, walking around today, there's a lot of DTF going on. Yeah.
It's a lot. And we thought it was a lot last year. And it's like, it's almost taken over.
Just increases.
I mean, my goodness, it's every row in the main auditorium over there has DTF company or DTF machines.
Well, it tells you something, right? I mean, it's a sign of the times. It's it's increasingly difficult to run a business, to operate. There's a lot of things that you've got to deal with. Things have become more expensive, and so any way that you can provide not only a better path for the business to grow, but a better, solution for the people who are helping to run it, to be able to do things quicker, faster, better. Screen printing, I think, will always have a place, but now it has these like brothers and sisters, right? In kind of the whole ecosystem.
Well, and I think the areas where screen printing struggles to be a great fit, DTF fills the gap for that. And so to me, it's an enhancer because you're taking areas that you can't serve your customer very well because you need everything to be high volume. And you're basically taking great quality, scaling it down so you can pump out, 12 of something.
That's
we
exactly
certainly
right.
feel that pressure now from our end. We're a shop that doesn't have DTF right now, but we are here to purchase it at the show. And it does seem like the thing that is trending in the industry.
What do you know? Do you already have a sense of like what that looks like for you in terms of like we screen print over 50 or over 100, or like where is DTF going to fill on the smaller side?
Yeah, so I think it obviously it depends on how many colors you're working with. We've already, as a shop, like a 1 color will print you 12, a 2 color the minimum's 24, and it keeps going up as you add screens. So I think like anything when you're dealing with under 12 shirts, it just doesn't make sense to set up a press. Like I can't serve the customer well with a price point that is reasonable. And so DTF kind of comes in and I think, honestly, depending on the amount of colors, I think anything under 12 for simple stuff, well, really for anything because it does full color. But certainly, like when you start getting into 4 and 5 color designs and they need 36 shirts, this is a win. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and it makes it's easy as clean cut for me to sell. Here's the parameters. Here's what we need.
Brandon loves
But it
it.
helps. I love the prospect of DTF for us because then we can do online stores a lot more efficiently, and we have a lot of people asking us for online stores because they don't want to house a ton of backstock. At least schools and different programs like that, boosters that we have a lot in our area, and so that would help us. Whereas currently, we're like, we do not want to do this.
The amount of instances where you have to say no or feel like you need to say no just decreases. And so, it makes sense.
So I'm excited. DTF's here. It's here to stay, and we're getting on it. We're figuring out what's going to be best for us. Okay, I have a question. Sorry, I feel like I'm like...
No,
you're fine.
Listen.
Yeah.
Listen.
What new equipment is Rock releasing this year? What's here at the show?
Great. Well, we're seeing it right behind us. We're sitting right in front of the new Rock Now.
Woo! The Rock Now.
It is.
That thing's beautiful.
It is very sexy.
Does it come with the border around it like that?
It does.
Does it?
It does.
Really?
The
Dang.
border has this
Dang,
green
that's nice.
LED. The border also has the.
I'm sorry.
The border also, obviously, for safety, right? It's great. It looks cool with the lights, but it also serves a functional purpose in that it houses the TagBot release system.
Nice.
So you've seen the TagBot on screen printing presses, right?
I see
You
it
set
right
up
there.
The yellow, you see it right in front of us. The yellow perimeter. This is all just flush with. It's built in. It's very
cool.
sleek.
So it's doing that right there? Oh,
yes.
that's cool.
This is the fourth iteration of the Rock Now, right? We've constantly improved it over the last 7 or 8 years. And one of the things that we were hearing from our partners, our print-on-demand partners, is that we really would love to be able to print the inside neck labels at the same time, right? Same issue that you have with screen printing. So the fact that the TagBot, Livingston Systems, we were able to work with them and really integrate it into the new model. It's awesome. It's going to be a game changer. So really excited about that.
Sweet.
The Rock Now, obviously, a big piece for us. It's a huge focus of ours. Really serving web to print and print on demand clients. But to your point, going back to DTF, we also have 3 impresses, which is our heat transfer machine that debuted at Printing United 2 years ago. So about 1.5 years old now, that solution. But we've just recently come out with these robotic attachments that go on it that now automate the placing of the transfer, the peeling of the carrier sheet. And then at Long Beach, for the first time anywhere in the world, we just came out with the Rock Pull, which is an attachment that actually unloads the shirt from the impress and then stacks shirts up.
Wow.
So because you don't need a conveyor dryer, it's a little bit different than, we've seen some robots out there that, try and take shirts off the...
So you're on and off the press. You're off the press and into a box instead of off the press and into a conveyor.
It's actually, I'll show it to you after this. It's a platform. So it unloads it onto a platform, and then the platform, as you stack shirts onto it, decreases. So you can just pile up 100 shirts.
Oh, wow.
So one operator
What the heck?
operator just puts the shirt on, literally.
Everything
The
else.
machine does everything else to the tune of about 400 to 500 units an hour.
Wow.
Oh my
Get
gosh.
out.
That's cool.
It's really cool stuff, right?
DTF.
We need to talk about this.
It's heat transfer. Heat
Do we have
transfer.
enough square
So-
footage for this? I don't know.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
So we got that, and then on the screen side, right? Back to our roots, screen printing. We have a really cool new screen reclaim system called the Jet Black.
Jet Black.
Yes.
Is that what we were checking out
And
earlier?
It is a pretty sleek.
That's cool.
It's a screen washer, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of difficult to make that look cool. And our partners at EasyWay just did a fantastic job in making a really cool, efficient looking, functional screen reclamation unit. So those are our 3 new products that we've come out with at the show.
So we love them all. I know little Dan would love the Jet Black. He's getting desperado to get out of the screen room.
We should talk, Dan.
Yeah. Hey, we make great deals with you.
That's
I feel like
right.
we do get all the add-ons.
That's right. You
We have
guys
to-
are
we
my
have to
favorite to make
shake
deals with.
Brian so all the goodies fall out for me.
Usually, from a sales perspective, that's usually, and salespeople will understand this. That's kind of a painful process to get beat up, throughout the sale.
Is that what you call it?
But for some reason, when you guys beat me up, it feels great. I love it.
He
It's
says,
the
"Do it again.
weirdest thing.
Do it again."
We're like, smile.
because
I'm gonna take your lunch money, and you're gonna like it. You're gonna like it.
I just love you guys so much, and I know that I know you want it, and you're part of the community, and it's helping you. And I also there's a weird sense of in negotiation where you appreciate the effort of somebody trying to
Yeah.
beat you down a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's all good.
They got grit. I like
cool.
them.
Yeah.
I like them.
I think we understand that everyone has to win. Good relationships are more valuable than just, beating somebody up for a prize. But, you're gracious, and we toe the line a little there.
Yeah.
Gracious.
You guys do a great job.
Just tell them blink twice.
Blink twice. If you're safe, blink
Yeah.
twice.
Oh,
That's
boy.
awesome. That's awesome. Okay, let's see. Okay, I think I may know the answer to this, but I'm gonna ask. What is an upcoming trend that you think is taking over the screen printing world?
Upcoming trend in screen printing. Well, I feel like we were just talking to the Street Warehouse guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they've got that. They just did that piece
The
where they're
oversized?
the
Yeah.
oversized. It's almost like Spirit, but on the front.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think the XXL print
Oversized
stuff
prints.
is coming back.
Yeah.
I think it is back.
Yeah.
And not just that, right? I think it's just doing it's. I think screen printing,
Pushing the
especially
limits.
with this diversification of stuff, I think it's an opportunity for screen printers to really push the boundaries of what the art can do,
Yeah.
right? You're seeing that we talked about TagBot. You're seeing it with Stampinator, right? Some of these different special effects. Rock has the inline foilers and the flock, right? Really adding some texture. MadeLab does some really cool stuff with that, right? With the
Yeah.
faux applique.
that's
cool.
I love that kind of stuff. So I think just making that more accessible and so people don't feel like they need to shy away from it, or it's this big scary thing.
Yeah.
I just want to print my base white and my colors and that's it. I think more of that special effects kind of artistic stuff is going to play a part too.
I agree, and we're here for it. We love puff. We started doing a lot more puff.
Yes.
And and
Since last year.
Yeah,
Since last year. Yeah.
Ryan took the class for special effects. We came back and we're like, well, let's try it. And so we started trying it, and then we've been printing it all year.
I think
Love
our
it.
first official big job on puff, at least last year, right after this with Ryan, was a school that we did jerseys, hoodies, and it was off-white hoodies. It was probably 150 of them, and an applique method wasn't working, and we were like,
Oh,
we
yeah,
need to
I remember
replace
that.
them. And so we said, how can we get the customer something that they'll still like because they paid a premium? And we said,
let's do the
let's
puff.
puff. Let's do the puff.
Yeah.
And we dialed it in, and we were excited, and Ryan did it, and it came out amazing. And Dan made the design to look like it was stitched, but it was puff. So they
Yeah.
still came out,
So cool.
still looked cool. It looked stitched.
Yep.
It was so dope. It
Yeah.
was so cool. And we were like, we could do this.
Yes.
We could do this.
Yeah.
Ryan was wearing his puff shirt today, and I think one of the instructors or
Yeah.
somebody was like, hey, who printed this? And he's like, oh, I did. And he's like, great job. Like that.
Yep.
That's a really
Yeah.
good.
It's a
really
way to
good-
separate yourself too.
Yeah.
It's kind of okay, you get good at screen printing, and good screen printers really take pride in that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. And so
Oh,
the
yeah.
ability to be all right, this is the next kind of level.
Yep.
Let's see a DTF transfer do this,
Yeah.
right? Adding
Yeah.
these dimensions and textures, it's pretty cool.
For real.
Yeah.
We were over
We should put a DTF over puff and see what happens.
Whoa.
Let's test it. Yeah, no.
Let's do it later.
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
We get back on
let's not do
Monday.
that.
We get back on Monday.
Yeah, get back on Monday.
Let's take some of these prints home with us.
I know. It's fun. It's cool. I mean, I'm newest. I'm the newest kid on the block for screen printing, at least in the industry for between us here. But I fell in love with it. I mean, this past 2 years, just coming to ISS and joining the team, I never gave it a thought, and just never really knew how big the industry was and how fun it could be until I came to ISS, and I was like, oh my gosh, you can make a career here. You have a lot of fun. One thing that was cool, because I've done trade shows and stuff in the beverage industry, and that was also fun, but the culture that ISS and just the screen printing industry has for the most part. I'm sure it's got its things, but like everyone is so friendly and they're willing to talk and share, and you see each other at the trade shows and you're happy. I'm like, listen, I was in the beverage industry, and like you don't
Nobody
like
was
I was with like Rockstar and then with another company, and it was like you see the Monster guys and the Red Bull guys, you're like, it's on site, we're fighting. Like, there's no talking, like you're going down. And over here it's like, oh, how are you doing that? Oh man, yeah, let's sit down and talk and let's figure it out and let's stay connected. And it's like, man, this is super cool.
It's a lot more open. We still have our rivalries, right? If you will. I think healthy competition is good, makes everybody better, right?
Yeah,
but
sure.
but yeah, this is a very open industry is part of what I love about it.
Yeah. Well, I think like Rock fosters that community
They do it very well.
so well.
Thank
like you guys want us to succeed and vice versa. So like it's just built into Rock.
Yeah,
It's
it
really
totally
cool.
is. Yeah. We want to see people succeed. It's a big thing, right? It's a big thing to invest, right, in a solution for your business, to choose, right? There's different options.
Yeah.
Making sure you choose the right partner. Did you guys have any, anxiety? Was that a difficult decision for you through that process, right?
I mean, I think, for us going from a manual to an auto, I mean, it's just such a huge leap. And the number feels so big, but most people at a manual size, like they got in at a hobby level, most likely. And, their first jobs, they're printing and they're making like $1,000 and you're like, oh my gosh, we have so much money. And then you come here and we printed for a year and then we came here for the first time. And Dan and I were like, as soon as we walked in, the M&R booth was at the front and like we see the machine squeegeeing the ink. And I looked at him and I was like, they make machines that they do this. We don't have to do this. And so then we literally like worked our tails off for that year. But even after 2 years of serious investment, I mean, taking the leap and buying $100,000 worth of equipment, I mean, that makes your heart beat. At that time, that was just under what we had paid for our first house.
Sure.
And we were like, we're going to buy a machine that's a house and put it in our house.
Yep.
And put it in our house and then pay for extra power to put in our house.
Yep.
Oh, man. But, it totally changed the game for us, and it absolutely propelled our company and blew us up. And I don't know, it's been a fun journey, but I don't think that would have happened without you guys in the community. I really don't.
Yeah.
Well, it's a respect. It's a mutual respect thing. Like we understand, and I personally understand. I ran a manual screen printing business myself, right? So when we're on the phone talking about this, and you guys, when's the right time? Is it the numbers make sense, right? Like I feel the anxiety because I felt it too, right?
Yeah.
So it's just it's a respect for like understanding what the decision people need to make and what they're going through.
Yeah.
And I think if you have that mutual respect, it really does. It's able to blossom into something that's just really great.
Yeah.
I think like thinking about that leap from a manual to an auto, like I'm sitting here asking myself, at what point do you know you're ready to leap from just a standard auto to something like the Now? Mm-hmm. Like what do you see kind of trending amongst your customers that are making that jump? What is it that's causing them to tip the scale and be like, yeah, I'm gonna go upgrade for something like that?
I don't know. I mean, the Rock Now is like a very unique solution, right? It is an industrial print on demand. And so what we've realized is, it's not like you reach this point in your screen printing journey that then you go to an industrial DTG, right? Yeah. It's literally a different business model. Yeah. And some big businesses, it's within, right? They have multiple models, right? But it really is I would say for a business like your guys, if you're doing these, smaller orders that need, higher color count, where screen printing doesn't, and this is where DTF has become so popular, we'd probably look at the Rock Go, which is a smaller, right, DTG solution than the Rock Now. The Rock Now is great for businesses that have a website with 400 different SKUs on it. Yeah. And when they come in the next morning, they might need to print 2,000 shirts of 400 different designs, right? And so it's a completely different model than your traditional screen print model, right? So I think screen printers are faced with kind of a choice where And nowadays, we're thinking of it the way we started on a manual press.
Right.
Nowadays, a lot of people are going to start on DTF.
Yeah.
It's so much more accessible with just a little heat press, and then it's going to be like reverse engineered, where
Right.
they've scaled their DTF, and now it doesn't make sense to do 2,000 pieces.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to add automated screen printing.
Yep.
Right? So we're going to
Right.
start to see the industry do that.
That's cool.
That's that's cool.
so cool.
And then around and around it goes.
So, in terms of an auto press, what have you found to be the best accessory or equipment add-on to put on a standard press, right? Like a Rock Eco. What would you say would be like one of your most valuable accessories to add?
I mean, the one off the top of my head, the one that's coming to mind is the Stampinator.
Yeah.
And Rock also has the Rock Iron, which is another solution, which is great. We have a lot of partners that have the Rock Iron, which is the same principle, right? You're applying heat and pressure, and basically you're heat pressing the ink so that you can, screen printers all know about this, that chalky kind of thick white, right?
Yeah, right.
And trying to eliminate that, and if you can solve that on your base coat, then your finished product is going to, your print's
So
as
much
good as your
better.
base, right?
Yeah.
So the Stampinator is a little bit more versatile in that it can it's just up and down, whereas the iron is back and forth.
Yeah.
So not only can they do the same thing in terms of really smoothing out and uniforming the ink, the substrate, but the Stampinator can also kind of double as like a transfer, right,
Yeah.
on your press. So
Our Stampinators.
chaos.
So Ryan has done such a great job at rigging the Stampinator to work with no power. Okay, so this is going to blow your mind.
And it works well.
Wow.
It works amazing.
Sorcery.
He does a stamp.
He prays
and
over it every
The Stampinator, after a few shirts or a decent warm up on the initial warm up, is hot enough that when it comes down and it presses the shirt straight out of the flash, it accomplishes the same purpose with no heat to it and no power.
Wow.
Now, if we were running a heat transfer and we were trying to press it, then
Then that's
certainly
where
the
you
heat
need-
would
yeah.
be necessary.
Yes.
But in terms of just smoothing base white, and we
So
we
good.
thought
It's like a roller.
Yeah,
well,
so
we have
yeah.
a roller
We have a
frame,
roller also.
but we have found that the Stampinator does a way better job than the roller frame.
Yep.
But literally, I mean, it's no power required at this point.
Yep, that's funny.
Just give me the Stampinator. No, I don't need it. I don't need it to work.
Well,
We don't need the cord. Hold the cord, please.
it goes back to like the what can screen printers do differently, and like to really focus on the quality and and how they can separate themselves.
Yeah.
We're always in any store. We're always feeling the
Yeah.
ink. How does this look? Is our pinholes?
Yeah.
Doing that whole thing, and it's just so nice. Like when a piece has been heat stamped, you can just it visually looks different.
Yeah.
It feels better. And so I think, especially if we're segmenting now and under 50 or under 100 are going to be transferred and the big runs are going to be screen printing, really diving in and focusing on that quality. And I Stampinator is a really cool product. I think that concept though, like what can we add on to screen printing presses
Yeah.
to make it more versatile and produce a better product? I think you're going to continue to see that.
Yeah. I think too for us with the stamp, having that smoother base coat and just a smoother print in general, your registration comes out a lot crisper.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need as much overstroke. You're not trying to cover this big gummy print. And you do get cleaner lines, I think, in general. So
Totally.
I think it adds to quality more than just smoothing the print. It's actually going to make your process more efficient, make your setup more efficient. It's been a win for us. So
Awesome.
we totally.
We liked it. Winning. It's good. It's good.
Winning.
We talked about it last night. Okay. What have you ever heard of a 2-second lean?
I have heard of 2 seconds.
Do you know what it is?
Yeah.
Okay. So my question then is, what is the best 2-second lean you've seen done or added to screen printing, like on an auto, using an auto? It could be unorthodox. It could be whatever. But like, what's the best 2-second lean?
I don't know if I have a single best. I mean, the way that, and you guys probably already do this, the way that you load in your screens when you have a new job is you're loading them in with the squeegee and the flood already in the frame, so that when you lock in on the rock press, at least, you're just going right up into the single clamp. I think that's like a really helpful way to just shave seconds off of your setup time. I don't know. I'm like a stickler for layout and like shop layout, and I've like been to some really cool screen printing shops that just like very intentionally design the layout to minimize the amount of steps in between everything.
Yeah.
And I know back in the previous location the location they're in now is beautiful and it's much larger and serves their need. But before that, Real Thread in Orlando was in a spot closer to downtown, and just the way that they went from like their office to like the screen room to the production floor to the like everything, it was like I describe it as like a Chipotle of screen. It was like everything was like dialed that way. Motion Textile, which I don't know if you guys know Tom from Motion. He's at Made Lab now. His facility was just like there was a door in between the darkroom and the screen printing production floor. So like literally you would expose the screen on one side, and like on the other side you'd open a door and take the screen out in your production space already.
Wow.
They had cage setups.
That reminds me of like the Costco door, from your garage.
What's the Costco door?
It's a door in your garage that goes straight into your pantry floor. You open the door, you just load the groceries right in.
Okay, I need this.
I know. I have 5 kids, so I know about those Costco doors.
I love Costco.
Can't wait to
I
get
was
my
like,
own.
I need a Costco door.
Everyone heard about that.
I don't have a like one specific trick, but I've seen a lot of cool things in terms of like screen print layout, and I mean then if you really want to talk like how to lean out an operation, I mean some of our most impactful things are dealing with like big press installations where we've got clients. Liquid Graphics, who's here running the machine, going from 17 or 18 machines, getting more production done on 14 rocks. It's those kinds of things are like
Crazy. In their 100,000
huge
square
impact.
foot facility.
Huge impact for a business. We have another partner, I think the most units, at least for us, 27 machines out on Long Island. And really interesting, not big, 18 color ecos like Liquid. These are all like 6 color nexts because that's their specialty.
No way.
Yeah.
Nice.
And so, the ability for them to be able to, literally cut their setup time in half on 27 machines every day.
That's huge.
You can imagine what that does.
Well, even upgrading our machine, we had a P10, we went to P16. Like it changed the game for us for production, and
Not having to go around.
Yeah, not having to go around,
Right,
and our capacity to print and to turn around is so much faster now.
Yep.
So it
What-
makes
Well,
a
and setting
difference.
up more jobs in the press, and then too,
Yeah.
like you don't think that the bells and whistles. Like I felt like when we were buying the U, we were like, well, we don't really need that stuff. But as soon as you get busy, those little bells and whistles, they're not just luxuries. They're actual, like they're functional, and they do cut down on time. Like somebody was mentioning, I think Street Warehouse was saying the moving the press from one head to the other and just being able to hit the arrows, huge.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yep.
Otherwise, you're just sitting there.
Do you guys, I mean, I'm curious now, do you guys have like one little thing you've done that was just like huge gain for the shop?
Okay, so Ryan would be the guy to answer this because Ryan does more screen printing than any of us anymore.
Man.
However, I put all of the ink buckets, I put our white and our black that are just everyday colors, you're going to need them, in 5-gallon bucket dollies. And so they just roll around the press. So we don't walk around with buckets anymore. We just kick. You can literally kick it like a soccer ball.
It just rolls.
That sounds fun.
It just rolls around the press, and then they load their ink up.
Is
with-
this how you lost your Stampinator cord?
No.
Okay.
No.
I actually don't know.
Sorry.
It all happened so
Maybe
fast.
we'll
It all
privately
happened so
send you
fast.
the video. You'll enjoy it.
Oh, it's on video. Good.
We do. We have maybe. I don't know. We might have lost it.
For legal reasons, we may have lost it.
Oh, that was funny. Dan came up and he was like, "This thing happened today," and I was like, "What?" No,
It's crazy.
it's all good. It's all
Okay.
good.
Okay, so we'll get you out of here soon because I know we all want to go see Hawthorne Heights. Want to enjoy Rockfest.
I'm ready to rock.
It's like I'm so ready. Okay, just a couple more questions. What would you say as a salesperson? This is cool. What would you say to someone who's on the fence about upgrading from a manual press to an automated press? Someone who's really battling with it.
Well, the first thing I would say is to preface with like, listen, I really believe in our product. I really believe it's going to help you. Also, I understand the perception of like you're hearing that from someone whose job it is to sell the product.
Yeah.
You should talk to people who've been in your shoes to do it, because that's the most impactful, right?
That's good.
But in terms of like a small manual shop, like how you guys were, like how I was, and making it so that it kind of just illuminates for them how much sense it makes, is to really go into, I like to go into the finance conversation, right? Because you're going to put yourself through a lot if, depending on what, everyone's situation is different, but a lot of printers will try to blood, sweat, and tears it. And, you might close before you get to that point where you can scale. You might miss too many dinners where, it starts affecting relationships. And it's like, right? So to just realize, okay, it's time, right? You're not supposed to work 16 hours a day, right? What can we do here to make it so that not only can we get stuff done quicker, better, but it also improves like our life outside of work. And so if we can look at it from a finance perspective of like, okay, how much does it cost for someone to go from a manual to a 6 or an 8 or a 10 color machine, right? And if we're in a situation where, we've got the finance payment to $1,200 a month. $1,200 a month when I was a manual shop, that sounded like a hell of a lot of money, right? And I understand that. But when you break it down by the piece, how much are you printing on that manual printer? How long is it taking you to do it? And if you only make $1 of profit per shirt, and hopefully you make a lot more than that, but I'm horrible at math. So just for math's sake, if you only make $1 of profit per shirt, and one person can print 400 shirts per hour on the automatic, on the first day of the month when you're thinking, okay, how quickly can I get this payment covered so I can cover the next payment, so I can start making money? You could cover $1,200 in a half a day. And so I think when you make it digestible and break it down and give the manual shop or the manual shop owner, some perspective of like, okay, I need to get my, finance situation right so that I can make this a reality and kind of create that for myself. That's a lot less daunting than being like, I need to save $50,000, $60,000. So,
So I just did the math. $1,200 divided by 30 days in a month is $40. And I think if you looked at any manual shop that was truly growing and said, hey, if I, like, how much would it take you to decide to go auto if I said to you for $40 you wouldn't have to screen print shirts anymore? I can't. There wouldn't be one.
That's
that
a great
would
way.
Be like,
I'm going to start using that.
You can have my $40.
What was those numbers again? What was that number?
$40?
$40 a day, and you don't have to push that ink. That is, I don't know. It was the best decision we ever made. We were kind of at the point though where like physically we were exhausted, and it was just like, okay, we can't keep this up. The guys that have printed manual shops for like 30 years, dude, they're hardcore. They're hardcore. If the apocalypse happened, I'd go find one of those guys because they would survive. They would survive it.
Yeah, they're in better shape than me, that's for sure. But yeah, it's through automation, it allows you to not only grow the business, but like I was saying, just create a better life for yourself and for your team.
Okay, we have one last question before we go. This is a juicy one.
You ready?
What is the most ultimate print equipment fail you have heard of?
It doesn't necessarily have to be right.
The one that makes you giggle.
Well, that's a pretty. There's been some pretty bad fails if we're gonna go.
I like it.
I will pick
Let's
not.
go.
I will pick not something too tragic, but I will go with. I've seen the camera footage, and I'm not. I really don't know the shop. I was shown this by another screen printer. The camera footage of a shop who left the flash on the automatic.
Oh no!
And there were some shirts that caught fire on the automatic, and it was incredible to watch. I mean, it was. I feel for whoever that was that had to go
Whoa.
through that. But that was that was an unfortunate fail.
Wow.
My personal fail, not nearly as catastrophic, just really embarrassing. Felt catastrophic to me at the time. Was at a trade show. I think it was an Atlantic City Impressions show, and it was early on for me. It was one of my first shows, and I was walking a client through, the features of the machine or whatever, and I was really focused on how easy it was to use and how easy it was to print. And to the point where I was like wrapping up, like, this is going to seal the deal here. Let me show you how easy it is to use. And get on the machine and just rip all the pallets by printing. Yeah, the screen to pallet, and it's just like the worst. We all know that sound, just the worst sound. And I turned bright red, and I was just like, "Oh, that's not going to sell. That's not going to do well."
Did you make the sale?
User error.
I don't think I made that sale. I think I blew it. With
He's
the,
like, I walked away from
man.
that sale. I walked away.
with the
You're
so I ever since that day I joke around that, like, that's my specialty. It's not a trade show until Brian prints on a pallet.
There you go.
But
I'm assuming you've gotten better at it.
I just avoid it now. I don't even try anymore.
The best way to do it is to not.
Yeah.
Hey, Buck. Can
Yeah.
you show them how this works?
Uh-huh.
There you go.
Stick to what you do best.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. Well, that's all. I think that's everything that we have for today.
Yeah.
Dan, do you
Yeah.
have anything you want to add?
No, it's just it's an honor to be here for sure. Thank you for letting us be here.
Honored to be here with you guys, from conversations, to help a small manual printer in the Central Valley,
Central Valley,
California. And that moment that, when you guys finally made the decision in Las Vegas at Printing United, and having it be based, around that work-life balance of this is going to allow us to read to our kids, right?
Yeah.
And it was maybe the only time I've cried during an automatic, sale. It was just incredible.
Well, he cried last time, but it was because he was so sad that we were so hard on him.
Oh,
He was lit in physical
No,
pain.
he didn't cry. He didn't cry.
no,
He's
it's
like, I laughed all the way to the
it's
bank.
so cool to see what you guys have done though, and what you've grown it into, and with Brandon, and I was like, who's the talent you hired to do your social media? You're like, that's just Brandon. That's just,
He's just the personality.
the level of
It's the personality hire.
the level of quality that you guys put out, and the professionalism and the product. And this podcast, the fact that we're doing this, it's just been really
This is
cool
so much
to be
fun.
a part of. So thank you.
Awesome.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks for coming on.
Absolutely.
I think that's it. So that's it for today. We're going to go enjoy Rockfest and the rest of Impressions. And that's it. We're out.